Have a seat for just a second. We've got just a little family business up here. I need Zach Clifford and Eli up here. I need the rest of the elders. Could you come up here, please? You know, this church is very privileged. We have two great, outstanding men, and come right up in here. I mean, a lot of churches, they don't have this kind of leadership coming up, but we are blessed to have two young men in here with great examples for the youth, and we are very privileged. So at this time, we got a few words we'd like to talk.
So, as Warren said, we were truly blessed to have Zach and Eli step in when we needed them. You guys remember here a couple years back, we were praying for leadership for our youth. There'd been a vacancy, and we needed someone to step in and fulfill a role. And we had these two guys, and the great thing about it is they listened to what God was telling them. You know, they prayed like the rest of the church, and both of these men, already having 40-plus hour a week jobs, young, expanding families, they were obedient to God. And they stepped into a position to where they were going to lead our youth. They understood the importance of that. Both of them, having come up through Highway 111 and recognizing the importance upon their own lives, they stepped in, they made a sacrifice, and they fulfilled a role that was necessary in this church. And honestly, they've done a fantastic job. But you know, in doing this, they both knew that this couldn't go on forever. You know, they were praying just like the rest of us, say, all right, Lord, what are you going to do with Highway 111? What's going to happen in the future? And they've been praying this whole time. And God's spoken. He's made it clear what the next step is. And so that's what we want to let you all in on today. So what we have here is that God has spoken to Eli, and Eli's listened. He said, you know what? We can't do this part-time anymore. We have to step up and fulfill this role and fulfill every aspect of it. And so Eli has prayed and been an answer in that he's going to take over as sole minister, youth minister for Highway 111. And that's a blessing and that's a sacrifice, but what's also awesome is that Zach has been praying as well. And he's been obedient to God in understanding this. He understood that his role was for this time and that he fulfilled that role. And he's still praying. We don't know how God's going to use him further. He's been an excellent leader for the youth. He's going to continue to be an excellent leader in this church. We've seen him preach up here and every now and again make a evil crack about his neighbor. I don't know what that's all about. But he's done fantastic things. So where God's going to take him next, I don't know. But I'm going to ask this before we just give our thanks and appreciation. I want to ask that we continue to pray. We continue to pray two things. We continue to pray for Eli and what God does through him with our youth. Our youth is a vital part of this church. Highway 111 is a vital part of this church. And we need to keep them lifted up and keep praying for them and praying for Eli in this. But we also need to keep praying for Zach. Pray for him and where God's going to lead him next because, again, he is a vital part of this church. So just keep them both in prayer through this time. But at this time also, we just want to really reach out and just show Zach our gratitude and our appreciation. We got him a small card. Here you go for that. It doesn't express the true appreciation we have for him. So we just want to thank Zach for his role in leading our youth here. Zach, you have a couple words here?
Hey, youth students, just so you know, Eli's got to preach up here tonight. So if you want a 100% Eli passing free experience one more time, come out to Highway 111 tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really am grateful for this church, to the opportunity I've had these last couple of years to be serving in this capacity. And I just want to say that just because it's not my job title anymore, that doesn't mean I'm going anywhere. I'm going to continue to serve and be obedient in whatever opportunity comes my way. So thank you again for the opportunity I've had here with these students the last couple of years. I couldn't ask for a better experience. Well, I'm not preaching tonight, but I am going to say a few words. I'm really excited to have Flippy giving the message. Flippy is one of our homegrown guys here, and he's definitely always been working, just mostly behind the scenes. And so I know this is a new experience for him, but I'm sure he's going to do a great job. I've got one verse I want to read to you. It's Psalm 117:1, and it says that workers labor in vain if the Lord is not the one who builds the house. And that's a verse that speaks a lot to what I've hoped we've accomplished here over these last couple of years, because a lot of work has gone into this youth group to building up a foundation, and any amount of work that me or Eli put into this is in vain. It's worthless unless God is behind those plans, unless we're following His will in those plans. Have you guys ever gotten a phone call or a conversation that just totally changed the course of your life? Like the kind of thing that was completely unexpected? Because that's what happened to me and to Eli just over 2 years ago in June of 2020. Whenever I got the phone call saying that the elders were asking us to come in and lead this youth group. It came totally unexpectedly, something I was not prepared for, and it has all led up to this point. I say that it was unexpected, and I say I was not prepared, but also at the same time, looking back to the time leading up to that, I can see how God was working in my life and preparing me for this role, even when I didn't know it, even when I didn't know that it was coming. I can remember instances when I was working or when I was at home in the months leading up to that, when I just kept having all these ideas that came to mind. It's like, if I was ever working in the youth group again, this is what I would do. Here's something I would want to try. And I had no reason to think I would ever have the opportunity to put those ideas in place, but those ideas kept coming to me, and I would write it down, I would think it out, and then I got the chance to bring it to life. It's been 8 years now since I started preaching on a semi-professional basis. It started with just another phone call. Somebody saying, hey, our church is without a minister right now. We know that you spoke in your youth group, and we're trying to get a roster of people who can fill in on a regular basis. And so that was my first time ever going out and preaching elsewhere. And that became a regular thing for me. That led to other churches catching wind that I did that sort of thing. And so over the last 8 years or so, I've been to probably a dozen local churches, probably 50 different times as a fill-in speaker. And all that, I feel like, was leading me up to and preparing me for this role that I've had here the last couple of years. That unexpected phone call when the leadership of the church said, we would like you to come and fill this position. Over the last 2+ years, I've seen so many great things happen with you guys. I've been able to have the opportunity to be a part of a lot of great things. I've had the opportunity to bring a lot of ideas to life. The creation camp, the game nights, throwback night, all of these are these ideas that I've had that I feel like God was kind of leading me towards and inspiring me with, and then giving me the opportunity to put into practice. The creation trip we took last summer, that was one of the highlights of my year. The game nights have been so much fun to put on. The throwback nights that we've done a couple of times now, that has been so much fun to do, to bring people together for. So many great things have happened here. And I've been privileged to be a part of that. And I believe that everything that's happened has been preparing this group for what's to come. Eli said that I met with him after you guys got back from CIY. He said we needed to sit down and talk about our plans for the rest of the summer at Highway 111. And he told me about his experience that week. He said he'd seen so many things where he felt like God was calling him to this. God was just giving him one confirmation after another, saying this is where he needs to be. And to be completely honest, I was a little disappointed to hear that, because I didn't want this to end. I knew from the start this was a temporary thing. In fact, the elders said they wanted us to agree to do it for 6 months, and then they'd hire somebody else to come do it. That 6 month turned into 26 months now. So a little more than what we bargained for. But I would have been happy keeping going like this forever. Working here with you guys, being in this role, has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. And I'm sad to see it come to an end. I've made a lot of good relationships with a lot of you. I've had a lot of fun with a lot of you. And at the same time, I want to make sure you understand I'm fully supportive of what's happening. I trust that this is the direction God's leading this youth group towards. And I believe that this foundation that we've been building over the last 2 years is the foundation that we are going to be able to do great things on top of. We've been laying the blocks, and now it's time to build the house. There was another verse I had saved for this. Let me pull it up real quick. 1 Timothy 3:15 says, "The church of the living God is the pillar and foundation of truth." A foundation is the first and most essential part of any building, any structure. Because if that foundation is not solid, if it's not built upon something reliable, then no matter how much work you put into the rest of the house, it's going to crumble. And a pillar is made for supporting something. It holds something up for everyone to see. And so when the Bible says that his church is supposed to be the pillar and the foundation of truth, that means that God's people should be what is supporting truth and what is putting truth out there for everyone to see. So when we took this thing over, we had all these goals in mind, these things we wanted to change, these things we wanted to implement, these things we wanted to build upon. And I believe that over the last 2 years, we have laid that foundation, those building blocks. So now something great can be put upon that foundation. I think that this is just the beginning of a lot of really good things to come here in this youth group. Just because I'm no longer going to be officially part of the staff, officially in this role, it doesn't mean I'm going to disappear forever. But I do believe that in order for Eli to become the guy, to become the leader, I need to take a step back to let him do that. If I were to continue doing the same things I've always done here, that doesn't give him the chance to be the leader that he's being called to be. So, whatever capacity I continue to be involved in is going to have to change. And I think that's, no matter how much it may be disappointing to me, it's the right thing, because God is leading this youth group to great things that are going to happen. There's been so much that we haven't been able to do, so much we've missed out on, so many things we wish we could have done with you guys, but we were held back by the fact that we had other full-time jobs. Eli had 3/4 of a full-time job, and I had 3 full-time jobs, basically. But we made it work, though, and I've loved every minute of it. But in order for this group to flourish, there needs to be somebody here with you guys dedicated to that as a career and not just as something they're doing on the side. So I'm expecting great things to happen in this youth group moving forward. I'm going to miss this tremendously. I'm going to miss all of you tremendously. Even if I'm still around in different capacities, I know it's not going to be the same. But I support Eli, and I hope nothing but the best for this youth group.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb. Till till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was not till I met you. 'Cause when you called out to me, I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness to your glorious day. You called my name. I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness to your glorious day. My soul. Now your freedom is all I know. You're brand new. Just when I met you. Oh, that day, I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness to your glorious day. You called my name. I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness to your glorious day. I needed rescue. My sin was heavy. The chains break at the weight of your mercy. I needed shelter. I was in orphan. You called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. And your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future. My eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness to your glorious day. You called my name. I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness to your glorious day. All right, we done. Beautiful